Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch the show and react to it.
Attitude towards me because I feel like we don't have respect to each other. But I'm trying hard and I have a different culture, different country, new place to live. It's a lot on me. And I would like to know where is the ring?
Ring should be somewhere. She's looking for the ring. She's snooping around his house for the ring. So my impression is Mike is in one of two places. On the optimistic side, he is thinking, well, I really love her and I'm trying to suss out whether or not we're a good couple. And if things go well, then yeah, boom, I'm going to ask her to marry me at some point. I don't know if that's the optimistic, but that's the pro-relationship side, I suppose. There's another possibility that he, to some degree, has completely given up on the relationship and is just sort of biding his time for some reason. He might be thinking, well, I'll just wait for her to go back to Ukraine and then I'll just break up with her later because I don't want a scene. I've certainly seen people do that before. It's not usually a good call, but people do that. He might also be thinking, I don't really know what to do here. I'm pretty much 9 toes out of the door, but I don't know. There's a chance that this might work out. So I'll give it kind of a try, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. So there's a lot of possibilities as to where Mike is here. And now for Natalie, she has been seemingly in a similar space of, I'm really not sure about this relationship. I don't know if I like him. I don't love him yet. Now, we all understand that people in different cultures have different definitions of love and that of when they would invoke the word love. At what threshold do you say you're in love with someone? But anyway, so that was my impression, was that they were in a space where they were both very unsure about whether or not they even wanted to be in a relationship with the other person, let alone get engaged and get married. And so for her to be in this joyous way, looking around for the ring, and you just have to think, okay, under what circumstances would that be a good idea? So let's say that he does want to marry her and is going to propose tomorrow with the ring. Finding the ring in the house before he does that, is that the nice thing to do? And then number 2 possibility is that he's not going to, or doesn't plan on asking her to marry him anytime soon. And you find the ring and you go, what is the thing? Now, I suspect, given some of the things that we've seen from Natalie, is that she has a really hard time talking about her feelings. Mike does too, for sure. But I think Natalie has a particular hard time about it because she seems to exhibit a lot of emotion and a lot of difficulty talking about it in a fluid way. And I think she is trying to connect with him, but a lot of her walls are kind of holding her back in a lot of ways. And I think she will resort to these other ways that she feels like she might be able to connect with him. And I think that's what she's doing here. I think she's going to, she hopes to find the ring. And then when he comes home, she will say, I found it. And I kind of want you to give this to me as a way of communicating to him that I want to express myself to you. I want to express to you that I like you and I want to get some connection between the two of us. Now, I think most of us would agree that there are other ways one could communicate that, but I'm just speculating. Let's see if we might get some more data along those lines.
The ring should be somewhere here. Oh, sport. No, here.
The other thing I'll say is, unless you have permission to do this, I don't recommend doing this, even if you're married to someone for 20 years. Snooping through someone else's stuff, even someone you live with, can present problems of various different kinds. And innocent problems, like, obviously if you found some incriminating evidence that they were cheating on you, then maybe that's something that you might want to know about. But there are a lot of other things you might find. You might find a journal that they're writing in. And it might not be locked, and you might say, oh, I'm going to read this thing. And that would be a big invasion of privacy. Also, you have to wonder if you want to see that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of other examples of this. Do you really want to find what's going on in there? Or if you do, talk with your partner and say, you know, this is what I want. I want to know more about you, or I want some more reassurance, or I want to find the ring. Is it okay if I go snooping around it in your stuff?
It makes me feel insecure and uncomfortable. I think he was hurt a lot when I gave him ring, and I hope we have enough time to fix things. Oh, it's a security safe. I think it's in a safe, but I don't have a key. I mean, I cannot open it. To me, ring means that he still loves me.
I think what she is hoping for is some indication that he likes her or loves her. I think they're both waiting for that from each other. I think they're both standing behind their walls and waiting for the other person to express vulnerability and love, and then they'll open up. But both behind their walls are not going to do it. And I think this is her shortcut way of trying to get there, of just like, hey, ring, because she did that last episode where she said, so when's the date of the marriage? And he's like, or hey, when are we going to get married? And he's like, I don't know about that yet. I think it's her shortcut way of asking, do you love me? And I think that she could just ask that question. But again, if you're terrified of the answer and you've been traumatized relationally in your past, you're going to have a really hard time being vulnerable in that way. And even for people that don't go through relational traumas, that's a tough vulnerability to ask. Do you love me? You know, I'm not sure if you love me. Do you love me? But it's such a wonderful question. And wouldn't you like to know the answer? And if you ever get asked that question by your spouse, pay very close attention to it and capitalize on it in a very sure way. Because, you know, let's just use this as a jumping off point. Your spouse is having that moment like her right now. You don't want her snooping around your stuff. You want her just asking you, hey, I'm insecure and I'm uncertain about you and your feelings towards me. Do you love me? You will love that question. You should love that question, especially if you love the person. And you should do a lot to reassure them and say, thank you for asking. Yes, I love you. How can I convince you? Let me tell you 5 ways that I love you. Let me tell you 5 reasons why I love you. Let me tell you how I know I love you. Yes, I love you. Because if someone's going to be vulnerable like that, they've probably been worrying about it for a long time. And if someone opens that up to you, you have to capitalize on it. So it's vulnerability and reciprocation from the other side.
I would like it to have back on my finger. Okay, I'm done. I would like to have secure relationship. I choose him. I came for him. But he wants to show me that he's mad at me. But I don't know.
Right. That's another possibility that we could add to the list that I've speculated before, which is that he has a lot of feelings for her, but he's very hurt that she said she didn't love him. And the fact that she threw the ring back. He's very hurt by that, and he doesn't know how to communicate his hurt about that, and so he's doing it passively by being standoffish. Almost everyone does this at some point, if not throughout their entire life. When we get relationally hurt, for a lot of us, our impulse is to want to communicate that, want to say, hey, you hurt me, but because of our relational traumas in our past, we can't be direct because that's too vulnerable. But we want to communicate it somehow, so we'll communicate it by being standoffish and cold. And we're hoping that the other person will understand, oh, I must have hurt their feelings. And then they'll come to us and they'll say, I'm so sorry that I did that earlier. But of course, that doesn't work, because if you're just turning away from someone and you're very convincing about it, the other person is convinced that you just don't like them. So that's a possibility that Mike is doing that too. Who knows? All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.